So I've been playing a lot of different random games on Steam, and recently I discovered one of the coolest little indie games. It's a perfect example of a hidden gem. Looking for Heals is a fantastic roguelike where you play as the healer who has to try and keep his 4 party members alive throughout many dungeon and boss fights, discovering new spells with ways to keep everybody alive or even to buff them. This game was created by a company called Blue Bomber Games, and according to their website is composed of only 2 people, which really makes me all the more impressed at what a great looking game they have. So I poked around, searching all through their links on their website, and saw that they had a YouTube channel, and surprisingly, it only had 8 subs. I was kind of blown away by this, and I'm kind of sad to see that this game isn't getting more attention. All things considered, it's on Steam right now for only $10, and it is the perfect kind of game that you should add to your wish list and buy it once it goes on sale. So the game starts off with a pretty fun tutorial that immediately sets you up with the mechanics of the game. You play as a healer, and it's up to you to keep your 4 other party members alive as they kill everything in the dungeon. The gameplay revolves around you healing everybody as they seemingly just don't give a fuck about whatever pile of fire they stand in.
Oh no.
Despite every single party member having an incredible desire to fucking die, it is up to you to use everything you have in order to keep them all alive so you can kill as many creatures as possible for all of that fat loot. This game offers a lot of different things that you can customize and unlock, so the replayability of this game is pretty high. I find myself loving to try out all kinds of different setups and strategies to see how effective they can be. When you start the game, you'll find that you barely have anything unlocked. Only 4 basic spells, the 1 original healer, some basic items, and only 2 different party members to choose from. As you go about and collect golden gems from every run, you'll be able to spend those gems back at the tavern in order to unlock all kinds of different things. First, we have the party members, which have a pretty good selection of different melee and ranged units. You can bring 4 party members along with you and try all kinds of different combinations. The only restriction that you have is that you can only bring a maximum of 2 of the same type of unit. You can choose from the big damage party members such as the Ice Wizard or Pyromancer, however you'll find that they are much more difficult to keep alive since they have way less health. You also have very tanky melee units such as the Defender, who you really won't need to even worry about since he can basically stay alive through anything. But of course, as you would imagine, he just doesn't do that much damage. You have more balanced classes, and then the one-sided classes that specialize in damage or specialized in staying alive, and then you have some that even offer utility, such as stuns with the Assassin. Trying out all kinds of different party combinations is a lot of fun, and unlocking them all acts as a great goal that you can work towards. It's a type of progression that you often see in other great roguelikes such as Hades, and it never really gets old for me. Another thing you can choose from for every run is the healer itself that you will be playing as. You have 5 different ones that you can choose from: the original healer who has more resurrects, or a necromancer who can deal damage to enemies, or even my personal favorite, the paladin. So after you select your party members and whatever type of healer you want to be, you also get to select 4 different spells. You have single target spells, hots or heal over time, shields, healing totems, chain heals, even a machine gun heal, and buffs that can make your party members crit on every attack, which is devastating on certain party members such as the Pyromancer. A lot of the healing moves you can select are all heavily inspired from games such as World of Warcraft, and you can definitely feel that vibe throughout the game. I play a ton of TBC Classic, so this type of game is exactly the kind of thing that I fuck with. Each spell will have mana and cooldowns associated with it, so you need to find a good balance, or else you might end up running out of mana quickly, or maybe you just end up choosing 4 very big spells with super long cooldowns, and only end up getting fucked without being able to cast a single spell. Now, once you start to get into the dungeons and begin your run, you'll find shops that sell random items for gold. These items are completely random, however, you can also unlock more of them back at the tavern. You will have a menu where you can equip up to 3 items to a party member, so you can play around with whichever buff seems the best for them. Additionally, you can also use your gold to level them up to a maximum of level 5. Every time they get a level, they will receive a skill point that can be used on certain items in order to increase their effects, as well as giving them a small buff to their health pool, making it easier to keep them alive. Additionally, at the end of every level, there will also be a portal that you can use to move on to the next stage. As you go through, you will also get 3 random buffs, and you can choose one, all of which are pretty strong, such as reducing the cooldown of all your abilities, resurrecting all members instead of one, and etc. All around, the game has a very solid roguelike structure with a heavy World of Warcraft healer foundation that offers a lot of replayability. Now, with all that being said, I do want to get into some of the negatives. Personally, I don't have too much to complain about because after learning about this 2-man team at Blue Bomber Games, I am more than willing to cut them a little bit of slack. So first off, there isn't a real ending to the dungeon runs. There's not really that solid final boss to take down, and there's not really an end goal that you're working towards. You basically just replay the dungeons and levels over and over again, even after beating them the first time, just with a higher difficulty. There are some great boss fights that have some pretty cool mechanics that you have to deal with. However, I much prefer having that really good epic final boss fight that a lot of other roguelikes handle at the end of a run. A great example, of course, would be Hades, where you find yourself having a really challenging final boss to beat at the end of the dungeon before you complete the run and start over fresh afterwards. That little element makes it much more satisfying when you finish the run. Otherwise, we're just going in a continuous loop back to where you started, and it's just disappointing. Because you're inevitably going to die just to kind of fodder enemies this time, as opposed to ending it gloriously on a final boss fight. Now, this looping pattern might not be so bad to even deal with if you could somehow keep increasing the levels of your party members, but the limit is at level 5, so eventually you are going to get wiped out. It's just so much more satisfying to end out a run on a high note rather than just slowly and effortlessly flailing for your life and struggling to that eventual wipe due to the endless cycle. While this could be a really damning feature about a game normally, I'm honestly willing to forgive it a little, especially considering the 2-man team, it's an indie game company, and it's very different as opposed to a AAA studio making a game, and I feel like you should definitely criticize and bash those studios much more and give the indie game developers a bit more of a break. At the end of the day, I give this game a solid 7 out of 10. If it was able to go ahead and fix some of these negative issues, I think it would be a pretty easy thing to do, and it would really make the game a lot better for it. A game like this also has a lot of room to add in additional features with new party members, new spells, new healers, and I would just really love to see more work from these guys at Blue Bomber Games. I'm really hoping that they continue to make more games, maybe even polish this one up in the future, and I'm really excited to see what other kind of things that they will make. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. My name is Artorigold, and I often stream over at twitch.tv/Artorigold, and I also put out a bunch of other random videos on my other YouTube channel that you should go ahead and check out. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.